Okay, so what I'm going to do here is delete the linear deformer right here. I'm not going to actually use that. Then I'm going to take and make sure that these are named wheel 1, wheel 2, wheel 3, wheel 4. And that way I can use my expression editor. Now you can name it whatever you want. I just got them named conventionally as wheel 1, 2, 3, and 4. So once you get those named, you'll also have to figure out what this is called. This is called polysurface 42. Once you get polysurface 42, here's the expression that you need. Here's for one wheel. So wheel 1 is rotating on X, and it's polysurface. This is where you change it to 42. I highly suggest you use a notepad. It's just so much easier. And then it's actually a positive 360 for that rotation. I'm going to copy that over. I only need to copy it once, and then I can go into my expression editor. That's under animation, expression editor. Okay, by clicking on the wheel, I can just simply go in here and paste that in, and then I should be able to just create that. Okay, and then go on to the next wheel. Control, change this to wheel 2, create it. Wheel 3, create it. Wheel 4, create it. Alright, there we go. So now what will happen is when this thing moves forward, the wheels rotate. But the wheels aren't traveling with it, right? Okay. So all you do there is this and this will be parented together using the P on the keyboard. This is the actual method you would use for these. If you used a constraint on these, you wouldn't be able to do it because the expression, and it would have to be a point constraint, and a point constraint actually requires it to have a midpoint, 4 midpoints per model. This model only has 1, so it wouldn't work. Okay, so now I should be able to move that forward, and voila, there it goes. Now, if I take this to become the driver for the entire thing, I can go into constraint and parent constraint together. So now I should be able to grab this, and voila, there it goes. Okay, also, what I want to do is parent this to the model. So this becomes a driver, this becomes a driven. Parent that together. This becomes a driver, this becomes a driven. Parent that together. Now let's test it out. Everything but the catapult should move. Yes, yes. Okay, the reason I saved the other one for last is because this has to have its dynamics placed. So under here, what I want to do is assign it some dynamics and make it a passive rigid body. And we can always choose an active rigid body if we have to later. I'll show you how to do that. So it's a passive rigid body. Okay. And I put a locator right here in the center. And that locator, and you notice the pivot point of the object is actually right here. And then the locator is there. So what I need to do is this becomes the driver, this becomes the driven, and this will get a new constraint in there under animation, and this becomes a point constraint. Okay? If you do everything right, you shouldn't see any movement whatsoever on the object. Now, what happens is this will become the driver, this will become its driven, and you can parent constraint that. Okay, so let's test that out. I should now be able to go like this, and sure enough it moves. Okay, cool, cool. Alright, so now that everything's in place, we're going to have to set up a sequence of events that is called set driven key. So that's next in the next video.